All right, so my name is Matt, otherwise known as Don Mateo, and here I am recording some power rankings for UDL5. Okay, so we're going to start here. So Ben's team, super interesting. He got Groudon, but only has one traditional sun abuser to go with it, Venusaur. Also has Reshiram. No, Reshiram, I think, went for it just like you're gonna hear this a lot about Pokemon that were drafted early, went for way more than it should have. Groudon at 30 is actually a bit of a steal, but Reshiram at 35 is not. And so, I mean, if I were Ben, I might consider dropping Reshiram for like Charizard and then moving on. Like, dropping Reshiram for Charizard and then, maybe upgrading a few other places. But this team has a lot of tools. Jirachi can do really annoying things with Serene Grace. I expect to see Scarf Jirachi a couple of times. Moltres, obviously good late game Pokemon, a lot of bulk. Aegislash and Araquanid both offer a lot of cool tools like White Guard and such. Just got a notification. All right, so anyway, so with Arachnid for Wide Guard, also, and it's a really good anti-Trick Room option. I don't think he has a Trick Room setter. I don't think any of these get it. Maybe Raichu does, although that's weird. Also, Electric Drain Spam. So Drain's not going to be super common here. So he should have Terrain Control through a lot. So if you're trying to put his Pokemon to sleep, unlikely. I expect, again, the main mode to be probably Life Orb, Reshiram most of the time. Maybe Assault Vest. I think you're going to see Raichu, Coco, fair bit of the time. Kangaskhan, I think, is going to be really important. Like, Kangaskhan is never going to feel bad because having an unflinchable fake out or a fake out that can make ghosts flinch, both of those, it can't do both at once, but it can do either of those, and it can't be intimidated with either ability. And those are both so freaking nice to have. So Kangaskhan I expect to be brought a lot at 9 points, an absolute steal. It's not as much a steal as Jirachi too, but really nice pickup. So I expect Ben to have some issues against some bulkier teams because just the super high power isn't necessarily there, but there's a lot of really annoying things that Ben's team can do. And I think the longer the fight goes on, the more you're going to regret letting him stick around. Again, just some really good stuff here. So, I mean, as far as power, I'm not going to give it a number. Well, I could, but my number would be a 10 out of 10, and I would give all of these a 10 out of 10. So, but that's the direction I expect him to lead. Again, the lack of the one thing I will say. Oh, that should be my meme or my theme. My theme would be one pickup that I would recommend. So one change that I would recommend making is I think that this needs speed control. I think this desperately needs speed control. You do have like Raichu with Coco, and like they both have webs and such, but like you don't have Tailwind, you don't have Trick Room. And so my biggest change that I would make is I would drop, as sick as Moltres is, I would drop it for maybe a Crobat or Mandibuzz. So we would go the wrong way. And then use those extra points maybe to upgrade Aegislash to let's see. So if you dropped Moltres to Mana Buzz, that's 8-point drop, and then you can move Aegislash up to, you could get 15 points. You get base Necrozma, which would be really cool, or one of the other Tapus, or upgrade to Dragapult, and then you got 2 points to upgrade. Maybe, although you're gonna keep Venusaur. Oh, you could upgrade Venusaur to Charizard with 2 extra points. Because you also have awkward synergy with Electric Terrain and Sleep with Sleep Power. So that would be my changes I would make. All right, Golden State Escavaliers. So only 2 restricted or RMs, and they're both fire types. So this team is really weak to water, and it also has a rain mode. It does also have a sun mode. Tingle, I think, is a really good piece for this because it has redirection and chlorophyll. But looks like a team that doesn't quite know what it wants to be. Like the restricteds, I don't think fit super well. So what I would suggest, what I would do, like as sweet as like Ho-Oh is, man, I just don't see. I don't know if that's the deal. I don't know if that's the bring. But if you don't use Ho-Oh, I don't know what you do for damage. Actually, I think I do know what you do for damage. So I would drop Ho-Oh for Darmanitan G, and I would go around making people feel miserable, or actually offer to, and then I would offer to trade Victini. I think actually, real talk, I think Victini for Reshiram straight up. I don't know who says no to that, because Victini makes Sleep Powder more reliable, makes Precious Blades more reliable, and of course it exploits the sun. Scarf V-Create in Sun is going to knock out like literally everything. So that would be my number one trade. Is I would have Uxie talk to Ben. I don't think either player says no to a straight up trade. Ben, if he doesn't make those drops I was talking about, Ben has 3 points he can play around with to make some upgrades. Probably would do what I said and turn Venusaur into Charizard. Which would be really nice. So that would be my major suggestion. And then if you have Reshiram, okay, so now we can use these extra points, and then I would drop Ho-Oh and cash in and like seriously upgrade. I would upgrade Uxie, although I know that's his Pokemon. I would upgrade Sableye. And I think you're going to be able to find places like Dragapult's still free. Tapu, Fini, or Lele are still free. And I think you could really make some good upgrades on your team. I do think this rain component, though, is going to make some people pay. I really like the Pelipper Barraskewda lead against everyone but the Kyogre team, which there's only one Kyogre team. This should be very, very, very good. So, and then Ferrothorn's just going to be a nightmare for anyone to deal with. I just don't see the huge synergy for Ho and Victini on it. But let's see. All right, so let's look at Blake's team. So Blake overspent on Marshadow, got Lugia for fairly cheap, got Zygarde 10 for a song, a lot of ground types, some inner focus stuff. Really good team overall. Some issues, of course, but a really interesting team overall. Gothitelle is good. So, I mean, this team, the one thing is just, you only have that one true restricted, and it's Lugia. Which just can't do all that much. How's my recording going? Everything looks like it's going good. It says trying to connect here. Do I have internet? Hey, Blake. That's hecking rude. Okay. So that's the end of that. Anyway, I'm getting lots of weird noises, and I hope that everything is. Is my internet okay? Like, let's just look at ESPN. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording. No, I'm not. My internet is down. Mm. Okay, well, I'm going to assume that I can still record. So we're going to pretend like that never happened. And yeah, so one change I would make is I think you're going to want some real high powered stuff. So I'd look for something that could boost up, maybe. Like, they're a trading partner somewhere. What's he got that someone else would really like? You know, like I think actually a really nice trade would be Zygarde 10 to Ibrahim or Mewtwo. No, not Mewtwo, sorry. For Zero Aura. Because I feel like Blake has some extra stuff that he doesn't need. Zero Aura would just. Yeah, and then of course he'd have to drop like Raikou. But actually, how about Zygarde and Raikou? That's 12 points. Ibrahim for Zero Aura. And then he'd have to like maybe downgrade Piloswine to something like, I don't know, Metapod or no, there's good Pokemon in the 1 tier. That would be my recommendation. And then he'd trade Zero Aura and Gorgeist or something. I think that Zero Aura would help Blake have more damage. Also, Volt Switch to activate Policy is definitely a thing. The Fake Out would be really helpful for setting up Trick Room or getting Bulk Up Marshadow or Calm Mind Lugia going. So that would be my trade I would suggest. All right, Glenn. So again, the nice thing is if you have a few restricteds that have power, then you can play around with that. So your Crowds of Dusk main, obviously way overpriced, but it's not bad. One thing gotta remember, it's shrugs off super effective hits, but it is I'm gonna make sure my internet's back. It's not. Oh great. Let's connect. There we go. So there we go. We have internet now. Okay, yay, I'm back on. Okay, anyway. So that needs to be cut. Okay. Anyway, so the Necrozma super expensive, overpriced, but the double steals here are really going to be difficult to deal with because of their coverage, their secondary typing. I think it's extremely powerful. Life Orb Dialga is going to do a lot of work. And having Indeedee, I think, is actually going to be really helpful because you're going to be able to do some disruption. Him and Top is such a great Pokemon in this format. The rain component is really clever, I think. Politoed, Seismitoad. Seismitoad can also be Water Absorb for the mirror match against the other rain teams. Talonflame is going to be great for getting speed control. Kyurem that's a lot of offensive power for not a lot of price. So it was a really balanced team. I haven't talked about Zapdos. Zapdos is going to be great. Rabambi is going to be great. and then got Amunga. So this team has redirection. This team has offense. This team has defense. It's got a trick room component, got a tailwind component. This is an extremely well-composed team. I don't think it has any real flaws. The only thing I would say is there something we could do with this extra point? Maybe off of Rabombi. I mean, Ludicolo to really tie into the rain component, but I don't think that's necessary. G-Weezing could be good. Because that also gives you terrain control. Blacephalon, Bronzong, those are really good. But I don't know if you need any of that. I just don't know what Rabombi really offers you. I guess speed swap, but like, So, how's someone going to beat this? I mean, ground damage obviously is good against both of those two. Fighting is really good against both of these, but it's, it kind of sucks against this. Yeah, I just don't think, obviously this is a fairly bulky team in the with the restricteds, so I would look for maybe something that's not quite as bulky. Honestly, this team has the tools to really exploit Regidrago, but the problem is opponents are always going to be ready for dragon types with Kyurem and Dialga. So this is where I think I would opt for honestly, as silly as it seems, I think I'd go with Conkeldurr. I think having a strong Trick Room offensive option would be great. And yeah, it does feel bad like that you would be having two fighting types, but don't worry about that because you're almost never going to bring both of them. Your team is going to be Necrozma, Duskgleam, Dialga. Speed of choice, probably Talonflame, maybe Conqueror. One, these guys have Trick Room, so you'll probably have Talonflame at least to bluff it, and then Politoed and Seismitoad. You'll bring that probably 70% of the time. And you might drop Kyurem for a Zapdos, for an Indeedee, or for one of the fighting types, or a Moongus. But this team looks really good. This is not going to be a fun team for anyone to play against. All right, so Calyrex Ice, Zacian, Zekrom, Diancie for 2 points, which is ridiculous. Lando, Milotic, Pheromosa, Hedron, Scrafty, and Cottonee. Scrafty at 6 is an absolute steal. Fake Out and Intimidate. And it's a dark type, can't be pranked. This is sickeningly good Pokemon. And then Cottonee for 2 points. You can do a lot with that as well. So I think that Calyrex is going to be very good in this format. As long as you can get Trick Room. Diancie, I believe, gets Trick Room. Scrafty can Fake Out to set up Trick Room. So it'll be very good. Zacian is a great late game sweeper, though. You can also run speedy stuff, but one thing I've noticed is that is there's not a lot of speed control here. I mean, you do have Pheromosa, which isn't prankster speed control. Cottonee has Cotton Spore, so I mean you got some. But what I would love to see, I'd love to see a Tailwind user here on this team, and I think I know what to do with it. Obviously, Milotic is going to be important as a way of punishing Intimidates because all three of these are physical attackers who do not like to be intimidated. So, you're probably going to want to bring these three. You'll bring Milotic in any matchup where there's Intimidate. Landorus is good, reliable damage, and Scrafty for your Fake Out and your Intimidate. So I would think maybe something else that exploits it, or something that could get you speed control. I know Corviknight's got Tailwind, but I feel like Braviary would actually be better than Corviknight. I know it's not steel, but like, and steel is important. But A, you have Heatran, and B, having the ability to have Defiant would also be really good. So that's just me. That's what I think how I would upgrade this team. All right, Miss Speller's team. This is the one with the Zacian crown. Beautiful, beautiful Pokemon. Got Eternatus, Urshifu, Grimmsnarl, and again, ridiculous 9-point Grimmsnarl. So this is going to be a team with bulk and with a lot of power. Togekiss and Volcarona, 2 forms of recovery, or of redirection, Thwacky for terrain control, and you even got like Lightning Rod with Manectric, and with Rhydon, Avalugg, Xatu. Avalugg in case you're facing a physical heavy team. So this is definitely going to be a team with bulk. It's going to expect to win its games in about 7 turns. Like, this is a very good team. I would say that with Togekiss, Volcarona is a little less useful, but this team's going to be extremely hard to beat. It is a really good team. It's actually sickening. But no team's perfect. The only Tailwind or Trick Room are both found on Xatu, so that I think is the one slight weakness of the team. Obviously, Grimmsnarl can do Grimmsnarl things. Urshifu punishes Pokemon who are trying to, play around the bigger threats with like fire types or ground types. Which the Eternatus Zacian thing is just unbelievable. This is going to be a really good team. But I think if I could make one change, Thwacky is an anti-terrain pick, which is nice as far as it goes. Sorry, it's nice as far as it goes. I think actually, honestly, this team is good enough. I think I'm going to look at either Avalugg or Rhydon as Pokemon I would consider against. I think you could find something that does something a little more unique. I love Doublate. I think it's really good in formats like this because it walls a lot of stuff. So I think Doublade or Eldegoss would be 1-pointers with a little more utility. I just can't see yourself bringing something as weak and slow as freaking Avalugg. One thing you might also try as a counter pick would be some form of weather. Or like coughing is great. Golduck for Cloud9 or Swisswin. Like, I think stuff that offers just a little bit more. Avalugg, I just don't think is a good 1-pointer there. But I'll be honest that it doesn't probably really matter all that much. Wigglytuff's also interesting because with Ally Switch it soaks up a lot of dangerous attacks. Oh my gosh, why do I keep doing that? Hang on, wait, I can just delete this picture. Hang on. I'm going to go back to content plug and I'm going to delete this picture. Okay, I'm really PO'd. I'm really PO'd. Okay, gonna breathe. All right, so anyway, that would be my only improvement. All right, Ibrahim. Okay, so Yveltal's way too expensive. Mewtwo is really, really good. Terrain control is great. Gonna have a solid Trick Room mode. Only Tailwind setter, I believe, is Yveltal itself. Zero is going to make a lot of things easier. This team's going to do really well if it can get in the right positioning. The only thing is that some of these Pokemon are a little frail, so getting them in the right positioning may or may not be easy. So, what would I do to change it? I think a redirector would be great. Oh wait, they already have one. Terrain control would be great. Oh wait, they already have it. You got. The only thing is that Yveltal and Mewtwo both. I mean, actually, they have pretty good synergy. I'm not even gonna lie, they have really good synergy. So I think that Primarina is also a really inspired pick here because you really want a fairy type for all these dragons, and you really want a water type, and obviously it fills both those niches. So I think this is a really expertly put together team for what it is. It has all the tools you need. The one thing, actually, is it missing anything? Tailwind, Trick Room. No, it's really got it all. So I would say, I don't know, Kling Kling is the one pointer I would use. I think you could do more stuff with other things. Like maybe a Claydol. No, although probably not on this team in particular. Maybe a Magmortar or something. Even Pikachu. Maybe a Vileplume, a Wigglytuff. I think Wigglytuff could be good, although I don't know if you'd use Wigglytuff on this team because you're not really scared of Intimidate. But yeah. That's all. I think this is a really good team, and if they can get Trick Room up, they're going to be in really good shape, and they don't need Trick Room either. It's a really good team. All right, Prime's team. I'm just going to say it. I don't think Volcanion is worth 30 points. I think this team could be really, really powerful with Giratina and Kyogre. I think if you give this team a really good Rain Sweeper, it could be good. And that, at this point, is pretty much just Ludicolo. It is a little ridiculo. That Ludicolo is what you got, but for 7 points, I would think you need that. So I would drop Guzzlord, get Ludicolo, and then I would drop Volcanion, and I would go to the high end of the tier and be like, okay, give me freaking Tapu, probably Tapu Fini for better type synergy instead of Volcanion. And then I would use the rest of the team to improve. I would drop. So how many points does that give us? So we're at -3, then 15. So now we're at -12. So now we have 12 points to play with. Seeking's fine. Keep seeking. 12 points to play with. And we can upgrade Impidimp, Scrappy, or both. But yeah, if you upgrade, let's say Impidimp, now suddenly you have Dragon Bolt. So that's fine. Or upgrade to Mienshao. And then you can upgrade your other one to like Magnezone. Which that sounds really fun. Or Tauros. Tauros is great. 3 points for Intimidate and not much else. I mean, yeah. Do I have that open? No one's here. I'm still in voice chat. Everything's good. Okay. So that's what I would do. Jay. So this is a really weird team because it has one restricted and then one mythical that's one of the less impressive mythicals, I think. Although it is very diverse. In Draft League, Muse diversity is going to be really, really good. But I would say, but then you've got these support Pokemon. You got Incin, Regieleki, Rillaboom, Porygon 2, Celesteela. I mean, you look at 2 through 7 on this team, and that's a perfectly normal series. What was it? Series 8 ladder team, right? Like you'd look at it and be like, whoa, Kira White. Well, they're surrounded with a lot of normal stuff like Celestine. You got everything you could want here. And then you got Mew to add extra stuff. Azumarill is a really clever extra addition. And then, yeah, with the Azumarill Pissimian, you do have the Scarf Misty Explosion into Weakness Policy Receiver Pissimian. But then Pissimian just dies because we're in a max form, or in a non-max format. So I'm not a huge fan of that necessarily, but it'll work once against someone unprepared. Again, this core 6 is so good. I would expect this core 6 plus Mew to be brought every single time. The only thing is, I just don't know about Celesteela, but I don't even know who you'd replace it for. Dragapult? But then you really miss that defensive background, or backbone. So, and you do have a Dragon Steel Fairy core, which is nice. So, all in all, I really like this team. I would. What would I change? I don't think I'd change anything. I'd be really happy with this team. Again, only possible thing would be trading out Celesteela for. Now that would actually be interesting. Imagine trading out Celesteela. If you could trade it for Matthew's Solgaleo, that would really be something. I don't think Matthew's going to take that trade though. Another 13 pointer there was, right? But no, I think this team is too good. Only thing I would see is like, is there anything else in the 6 range? Oh, yeah, of course. I'd trade out Azumarill for Comfy. Like, you're never gonna actually probably get the Pissimian thing up, and so I mean it's not bad, but I would trade it for Comfy in a heartbeat because then you have a weakness policy procker for your Kyurem, and then Floral Healing loves grassy terrain. It does, I think, like 50% more in grassy terrain. So, and then I think you have another Trick Room setter that also lets you switch out Porygon too if you want something a little, for lack of a better term, better. Like you switch that out for Crobat, which is 1 point less but has Tailwind, so you have a reliable fast mode. It's an unflinchable Tailwind, by the way. Or if you want a water Pokemon that you can do things with, after you switch out your Azumarill for Comfy. Yeah, I mean, you could keep P2. P2's not bad, and I understand you want an answer to ghost type attacks. But you could, you have access to so many different things, and you can get rid of Pissimian to give yourself a couple of extra points if you even want. And you could go up and grab yourself Kartana. You grab yourself Weavile. Weavile would be really good. Or, since you wanted water, you can grab yourself a Dracovish. And then imagine the surprise when you do weakness policy Dracovish at some point. So that would be what I would consider. Azumarill for Porygon, for Comfy. Alright. Oh yeah, and then you could also just make that trade straight up and then just trade out your, and then leave Porygon 2 and trade out your Pissimian for like a Cloyster, or I guess Cloyster is the only water type that's, oh, and then Crawdon. For Cloyster or a Crawdon. Dark types are going to be really good here. We might say that mostly because of this guy. So, next team. So, Calyrex, Shadow, Xerneas, Igard, Solgaleo, Zamazenta. So, that's 5 restricted. So, when I say restricted, I mean restricted. Like, full on 670 points or more. So, let's count. 2 restricted, 1 restricted, 1 restricted, not really, 2 real restricteds, and then they're secure, 3 restricteds, 2 restricteds, 2 restricteds, 2 restricteds, 1 restricted, and then here we have 5 restricteds. Here we have 2 restricteds, and here we have 5 restricted. So now we've got teams that went heavy in on restricted specifically, did not go heavy in on mythicals. So this is an interesting team. We'll just say that it's an interesting team. Cali Shadow, of course, is a feast or famine Pokemon. For instance, week 1, I'm going against Urshifu Single Strike, which probably does a little bit of damage. Let's calc that. Come on, sure. I know I misspelled. There we go. Here we go. So let's look and see. Urshifu. Let's do Choice Band just for fun. Adamant. Let's do Calyrex Shadow. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Although, what the heck? Dang. Anyway, but although that is singles. But yeah, so that's hilarious. That means that if you could somehow make Calyrex like a pure dragon type, for instance, Wicked Blow still outgoes. Oh my gosh. Well, banded Wicked Blow. So anyway, just FYI, Urshifu is really strong. So Calyrex is a lot flawed. Xerneas is very interesting though because it covers a lot of those. You got Zygarde 50 for like the slow coil, Dragon Dance stuff. Ground is always good in an environment with a lot of steals. You got Solgaleo, which has slightly awkward synergy. 10-point Zamazenta base, which is really fast, has a lot of good tools. Coaching, of course, but also the choice banded close combats do some chunking. And then Rotom Heat for 4 is nice because that's another special attacker. And really good type synergy with the rest. Ditto for 10 points. Luxray for sentimental dog-related reasons. Altaria is the team's only Tailwind. Ooh. And then Lightbird and Clefable. Lightbird for Fake Out and Prankster stuff, and Clefable for Follow Me. So this team has fewer tools than some other ones. This team has 5 Pokemon that are mythicals, they're legendaries, but they're all known for pretty much just doing one thing. Cali Shadow does, Focus Sash, Astral Barrage, or, Specs or whatever, but it clicks Astral Barrage and dies. Xerneas clicks Power Herb, so uses Power Herb, clicks Geomancy, and sweeps until it runs into a Steel type. Zygarde 50 has leftovers and just bulks up inevitably until it gets hit by a critical hit or a snowflake lands on it. Solgaleo is weakness policy, and that's it. And Zamazenta knows coaching. Did you know that Zamazenta knows coaching? Whoa. So I think creativity and how I use them, apart from what they're normally doing, like not departing without a good reason, but departing when I have a good reason, I think is going to be really clutch. One trade I would make is I would find Glenn, not online, but in real life, and I would hunt him down, and I would just kind of like stand there awkwardly until he says, if I give you Indeedee, will you go away and then make that trade? And trade I trade Lipard and Clefable, get Indeedee, and then some. I don't even need to because I have an export, so I just trade Clefable for Indeedee straight up. Who says no to that? Glenn, apparently. Glenn says no to Indeedee for Clefable straight up. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I don't begrudge it, but anyway, that would be the one trade I would make. Who says no? Besides Glenn. Anyway, so yeah, exciting stuff. I did have Crobat and Sarina, but Sarina is just so limited. It has one nice trait, but it's so limited. Unless you're playing Pokemon Unite, in which case it's a freaking menace. All right, Terrans also have 5 restricteds, but this Necrozma and a Dawn for 1 point is, I think, honestly, it's better as a trade chip than anything else. I would get rid of this. But because it duplicates them also, or I just get rid of Lunala, trade it to someone who could really use the help, and then, or even just drop it outright, and then just fill it in so you have some more power. Persian's great. I think Morgrim and Riolu are a little redundant. I don't think Riolu does a lot for this team. So, and I think, I don't know, I just feel like the type synergies here are not great. Like, you have 2 dragons, 3 ghosts, 2 psychics among your restricted, and then 2 steals if you count Melmetal. You have a lot of Trick Room options, though, and that's nice. And then you also have Tailwind options, and Clefairy is helpful. So this is going to be an interesting team. It's going to be very difficult to break. It's a very bulky team, very slow team. I don't expect any of these games to be done in 4 or 5 turns. I expect long, drawn-out games where Trick Room is maybe even set multiple times. So just a really, really solid team. And I recommend, what trades would I do? I'd look at maybe getting rid of Riolu. I don't think you really need it. Does it have? It does. Maybe a Misharna would be useful. Or Zoroark would actually be hilarious. Those would be my recommendations. Alchemy. Actually, Alchemy would be really fun. So those would be my recommendations. Would be to get rid of Riolu. I just don't see what it accomplishes here. But could be wrong. Malamar would be really interesting. What do we put Lurantis at? Is Lurantis even here? Okay. How high up did we put Lurantis? Is it a 1 point? How's Lurantis worth less than Malamar? The heck? Anyway. Yeah, so that's interesting. I wonder if Lurantis would be better than I wonder if Lurantis would be better than Necrozma Dawn Wings. It's hilarious. Again, should be able to trade this for something. Or actually, would be really fun. Trade it to Apple for that 2-point Thundurus. Or trade it to Jace for that 2-point Dancing, and then just drop Riolu for some random 1-pointer. I think Jace says yes to a Necrozma Duskmane for Diancie trade. I think Apple says yes to a Dawn Wings to Thundurus trade. And then that gives you just really a lot more options. So that would be my suggestion. Apple's team. Apple's team sucks. Not because it sucks, but because it's really good and I have to go against it this week. Mantine's really a nice anti-rain tech. Fungus is annoying and is going to catch someone off guard. the Trick Room component of Oranguru, Stakataka, and Magirna is going to be very difficult to deal with. I don't know how Celebi fits into his plans. But it does have decent damage and pretty good bulk. Rayquaza is going to be another great anti-weather check. I think the majority of the damage, the majority of his weeks is going to come out of Kyurem Black, which is scary because there's a lot of steel types. There's a lot of steel types. But yeah, I think it's going to be very, very, very important for him. If I could make one trade to this team, I would definitely drop Celebi. And he actually has an extra point. If you put Dragapult on this team, that would be something. I don't think you're going to be able to trade Celebi for anything. So maybe, honestly, Weavile would be really good on this team. Yeah, it does slightly duplicate your types, but I don't think type duplication is important here when you're bringing mostly the same Pokemon every week. Mienshao would also be great, or Cinderace, or Cresselia. Cresselia really goes along well with the Trick Room theme. Cinderace has some speed. Let's see who's good. Or actually, even just dropping it for Crobat. And then you got 4 extra points, and you can invest that maybe in trading Thundurus for something. Yeah, like if you traded Thundurus, who else got a good Pokemon for a steal? Someone did. I don't know. No, you wouldn't trade Thundurus. Kyurem Black is a real steal. But I think this team is really good as is. That's, I think, why Apple didn't drop Celebi, even though it is overpriced. It's like, what does this team really need? It's already a nightmare. Anyway, so that's the end of the video. It's going to take me a while to edit it because someone put some stuff in that he shouldn't have. But much love, much love. I hope this video is good and works. And I hope you all have a great day. Bye.